messing around with the effects, no doubt. It's pretty cool. Peace on Earth. Ethan Indigo Smith here. I wrote my first book in homage to Orwell's 1984, and in observing reality through the lens that Orwell provides, I came to some critical observations, among them being not to be on either the right or left side of the political situation. I realized in 1984, Orwell puts forth 4 types of character archetypes. And he displays them through the proles, the outer party, the inner party, and the elusive brotherhood. And these are the 4 character archetypes of 1984. And they reflect in synchronicity the 4 archetypes of the wise monkeys. And just like in 1984, it's obvious that there's 3 types: the proles, outer party, and inner party. The elusive 4th type is kind of suggested that it might not even exist. So the wise monkeys have this same aspect. There is the speak no evil, see no evil, and hear no evil. And the 4th wise monkey is fear no evil. And he would be, of course, this archetype is, of course, akin to the brotherhood, right, in 1984. So this parallel provides a great insight into what Orwell was really providing and laying down. He was presenting, just as the wise monkeys adage presents, he was presenting a social construct and a spiritual construct. Also, 1984 is in line with the allegory of the cave, which also puts forth a social and spiritual construct. So, Orwell, not only was he a wonderful observer of the political sphere, and of course wrote books on it, but also fought wars about it, and was born into a military family, and was essentially a cop in India. So he knew the social political sphere inside and out. I think that's obvious. What's not so obvious is his spiritual understandings, which is revealed in the parallels of the wise monkey adage and the allegory of the cave construct that is obvious in the story 1984. What's very revealing of how of the lack of quality thinking of most people that make observations concerning 1984 is in the name of a character who is elusive and maybe non-existent in the story 1984. His name is Emmanuel Goldstein, and so people put forth a very basic understanding of this individual, usually in terms of um, let's say, prejudiced kind of understanding of that name. Orwell, as a educated Englishman writer, knew very well, of course, what this name meant. He wasn't just using it to represent a certain heritage or group of humanity. Isn't the word human great because it's the colors of man. We're all different colors of a rainbow. Okay, I'm getting off track. Um, so Orwell knew very well what this word, excuse me, what this name meant, the etymology behind these words. They aren't just words that are indicating heritage. Emmanuel Goldstein. Emmanuel Goldstein to you. I like to say Emmanuel Goldstein to you because it means golden godliness is within you. Emmanuel means God is within you, and Goldstein is the gold rock. So these names are not, this name, excuse me, is not something he chose as a heritage construct. This name is pointing to the power of the individual to take on the oligarchical collectivism of the institutions in his fictional story. But obviously, this is how it is in reality, too. Emmanuel Goldstein is the manner in which we contest and contrast and stop institutions from taking advantage of individuals. Hey. So, Emmanuel Goldstein to you, right? Messing around with the, again, the little sound effects I got here. Emmanuel Goldstein to you. Uh, and sadly, I haven't seen anyone else explore this concept. Well, most people looking at 1984 are merely looking at the political construct and not the layering of spirituality and individuation empowerment that he has weaved into the storyline and not so subtly put forth in the parallels, again, of the allegory of the cave and the wise monkeys, for instance. So, sadly, most people look at a very brutish interpretation of this name. It's actually the complete opposite. And so many things in life are like this, where people make really shallow and gross interpretations of what are, on the contrary, spiritual, enlightening suggestions. And I want to say critically that I think postmodern United States is so polarized that the ardency is preventing people from really seeing these higher layers of things, such as what's in a name, beginning with what's in a name, say. So, it's impeachment day, and I'm watching the display in Congress, and it's interesting to me that the term oligarchical was used more than once, and oligarchy was used several times. So I found that pretty pleasing to me, as the author of The Complete Patriot's Guide to Oligarchical Collectivism, that the O word was being uttered in the halls of our national leadership. Sadly, though, it was, of course, in reference to Eastern oligarchs. I don't think I've ever heard the mainstream media or leadership in the United States refer to anyone as oligarchy or oligarchical besides Russians and Ukrainians. Um, there might have been some other foreigners that have been referred to as that, but as it is, I'm busy right now. I'll be 2 minutes. Excuse the interruption. Got a young fella. He definitely doesn't know the O word because we're not taught it. Um, and really, language is a map. Not only are we not taught the right words, the right keys to the map, we're actually prevented from thinking about words and about the meaning of them literally, but also the meaning of them as far as the outcome of that perspective. So the more we comprehend words and vocabulary, the better off we are. Another thing I'm acutely aware of now that I've spent a little time researching it, I just finished a new book called The Tao of Thoth. And let me go back and say that Orwell's perception to put forth the name Emmanuel Goldstein led me to pursue more spiritual minded constructs. Just knowing that he weaved spiritual aspects into that political story um, inspired me to do the same. And I hope that more spiritual people will be more involved in political situations. Uh, so, one thing I wish I would have learned, besides language and the importance of language, besides more language and the importance of language, is about natural law and those rules or proverbs or principles or tenets put forth in the Kybalion and uh, for millennia before that in all teachings. And that's what my book, The Tao of Thoth, is about. How humanity is all connected. And I wish we were all more aware of the humanity and more aware of the spirituality rather than the prejudice of Emmanuel Goldstein. We all need more Emmanuel Goldstein ideas in the world. So with that, I'm out, and you can get at me at the usual places, and feel free to reach out with any questions. One.